quick second. Oh my god, why is it that every goddamn time? Don't need the leash. Fuck! Here's as I'm saying, just making the social post real quick. And there we go. And post. Alrighty. There we are. Now we are back into it with our Life Now and Forever, the demo. Okay, so last time we played this, so we had just moved into a new town, the town of Golden Grove, and we got to meet our two now besties. So we got Chu over here, and then we got Tamarin. Tam. I'm gonna call her Tam. Two kids who happen to be our neighbors. We are in the childhood part of this game, and upon full release, there will be like, I think there were like 3 or 4 different eras that we go through as we develop into romances with these two potential characters. But when we left off, we were just about to start our first day of school, so Life Simmer dating game. Ever saw you play this one? A bit of both. It's a bit of a slice of life, but both of these characters are romanceable. So yes. It's romance, but you get to go through the entirety of their lives. Oh my god, I should have grabbed some tea for this. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. Like an hour at most, because my throat is starting to hurt. And even though it's only 7:48, it feels like 10, and I am a very sleepy individual. So yeah. Okay. But your second day had only just arrived. Only one corner of the world outside the window had any sunlight. The rest was all shadows. The lights in the house had to be turned on for you to see your own hands. You loved it when it was that early. Oh, I would hate it. You thought it should be criminal to make people have to be awake this early. Yes. But your home phone wasn't working yet, so you couldn't call the police or the mayor to complain. Oh. This is a nice way to unwind, though, you know? No horrific demon children in the street to scare the fuck out of you. Just happy fall vibes. It's so relaxing. Oh my god. Fuck off, Breaker. At least your mom didn't start making you do chores. The unpacking wouldn't be started again until a lot later. That's what your mom said when you were brushing your teeth. For now, you both only had what was already out. The food around to eat was still the same stuff from yesterday. It's what you had for breakfast already, and you can see your mom packing it into a brown paper bag for lunch, too. That was the last of the preparation she had to do for your school, you were pretty sure. Your mom really wanted to be the one to get your supplies for the day together. Ooh. There we go. She put stacks of stapled papers, a notebook, your pencil case, a ruler, and more into your backpack. Mom had kept the pack on the middle seat of the car to make sure it would be right there when it was time to use it for class. If it had gone missing, maybe you would have had to carry your school stuff in a cardboard box, the same way you had to bring everything else you owned to this place in big boxes. You watched her from your comfy spot in your sleeping bag. You'd already gotten dressed for the day. That didn't mean you couldn't sit in bed again. There wasn't anywhere else to. Soon you'd be leaving the new old house in the neighborhood, and all the parts of Golden Grove you've gotten to see so far. The next stop into the unknown was North Acres Elementary School. You kind of wondered why your mom was bothering with making you bring so many things. None of the stuff in the backpack would make you prepared for that. But school thoughts were shaking out of your head when a muffling thumping sound filled up the air. Mom slowly lowered her full hands down to the counter. At the same time, her head and eyebrows went up. Somebody knocking on the door? Yes? Already? At this hour? Your mom left your lunch bag incomplete on the tabletop and went to investigate the knocking. New friends? No, we're gonna beat Mom. We can open the door. The speed of your chase made your sleeping bag slide against the wooden floor, but you didn't trip. You were able to pass Mom before she arrived at the start of the entryway. You reached up to get both your hands around the long handle of the front door, pressing it down and giving the stiff board a firm tug. It squeaked open. You glanced ahead, squinting your eyes to adjust from the complete brightness inside to the pale dawn outside. It's Chiu! Standing on the welcome mat, seeming totally at home at your home, was the new friend you had made the day before, Mr. Chiu Lin. Oh, hi! Though he said he was also called Autumn. Ooh, we're gonna use the nickname. Oh, we're gonna call him Autumn now. Autumn's fluffy hood was tucked snugly around his head. He didn't usually do that, at least based on how much you knew was usual for him. Maybe it was because the air was somehow even more skin-prickling cold in the morning than it was during the day or evening. You shuddered just from the wind coming in through the opening. When he got sight of you there, a plucky grin took over his face. Oh my god, he's adorable! He popped onto the balls of his feet, getting even taller, and cheered a greeting. Good morning! Seeing who it was, you... Ooh. Enthusiastically, regularly scoot, nervously shift behind your mom. Why would we do that? Started in place, then dove to hide behind your mom's legs. Oh my god. Stayed there to greet the guests, stood in place, wondering if it was too late to go back to the living room. Oh, it's too early for socialization. We're gonna shove past Mom. She laughed openly, completely pleased that you'd come over to him. Aww, he mirrored your move so he was facing you instead of Mom. You're visiting me? Things are coming to my house. Hello, good morning. What are you doing here? You excitedly waited there for an explanation. She stayed put in the new place he took, but angled his head up and over to give his focus to your mom. I'm Mr. Chiu Lin, your neighbor, the same age as Madame Lily Demonic Angel. Quite the name I have, yeah. The two of us met yesterday. Ah, yes, I've heard. I'd been anticipating getting to meet you, and those feelings were well placed. You're so polite. She straightened out the line of his bandana with both hands, giggling cheekily as he made direct eye contact with you. Well, if somebody has been talking about me, I hope it was the good stuff. Now, I should introduce myself as well. I'm Miss Demonic Angel, Lily's mother. It's nice to meet you. May I speak with Lily, Miss Demonic Angel? It's something I wanted to talk to her about. Oh my god. Thoughtfully, your mom's glance drifted down to you. Without looking back at him, your mom replied, That would be fine. I'll finish getting your bag ready, Lily. You two can chat. Chiu clasped his hands together primly. Thank you very much. Mom let a content smile rest on her face as she walked back inside the house, leaving you alone with Chiu. You looked back at him eagerly. It was only the morning, and something good was already happening. What did you want to say? Aww, Autumn didn't beat around the bush with you. He probably didn't with anyone. He came right out with what he had in mind. Want to walk to school together? It's the first day. He squared his shoulders and held out a hand, counting off points on his fingers. We're going to the same place, in the same grade. There's a good chance we'll even be in the same class. Going together would make everything so easy. Yeah. Yes. Alright. He popped an enthusiastically double thumbs up. And guess what else is the reason for why we should walk together? What? His gaze got sharper, but it didn't feel scary at all. Glance was like a fancy cut jewel rather than a pointy weapon. It's because I want you to be there. Oh. I just got started. You're so sweet. You adorable cutie. So yep, I think it makes a lot of sense that we go together. With his hands in his pockets, she lifted the whole top half of his body diagonally over to one side. The tilt of his head really showed off the bend in his self-pleased smile. Oh! He flung an arm out and arched the fingers across the air in front of both your faces. It might have been to stop you before he could say anything, or to keep himself from forgetting whatever else he wanted to talk about. Tamarack! Not Tamarin, Tamarack. It wouldn't be just us. I'm gonna keep going down the cul-de-sac to Granny's house so I can ask Tamarack next. So that's it. What do you think about all three of us walking together? It's a good plan, right? Yes! It's a great idea. More like all the time. You swung your hands behind you and spoke out again. I'll get my backpack and tell my mom we're going. Cool. I'll wait here for you. You parted with Autumn for a second, but didn't bother closing the door. The sound of your feet against the floor was the only noise in the huge house. You couldn't have stuck up on Mom if you tried. Each step you took brought you closer, and it made the smile on her face grow larger. But she didn't get distracted from her job. Her gaze stayed stuck to the counter. Oh. Mom placed one more paper into your backpack and snagged the plastic clasp on the top flap closed. With that secured, she promptly picked up the bag by the loop handle. She lowered herself down to your height by bending her knees low. Then she offered the backpack over to you. Exceptional timing, dear. Here, you're set to go. It was nice and light when you took the pack from her. That wouldn't last. Soon you'd have actual school books to bring around with you. What happened with our guest? Did he leave? You answered the question while looping one arm after the other into the wide openings of your backpack straps. He's still out there. She wants me to walk to school with him. Can I go? You shifted your grip to the dangly ends of the armbands, then gave them a swift tug to tighten the straps, fully securing the bag against you. He came over to ask you that? Talk about convenient. The young Mr. Lin must know the way far better than I do. You certainly can walk together. Aww. Man, the good old days when it was safe to walk to school. The parents weren't concerned about it. Ah, the good times. That was exactly what you thought she'd say. You could count on her to understand. As she smiled, her face lit up softly like the early morning sunshine outside. Mom pinched the tip of your chin between her thumb and her pointer finger. Enjoy your first day. There's only one of them per year. You sure weren't cheery about going to school, and that was a fact. You couldn't even pretend it wasn't. She let you go in order to place her hands on her thighs, needing to balance herself as she stiffly straightened up to her full height. Your mom folded her arms proudly, watching you leave for the day. You were going ahead without her. Through the open door, you could see Autumn waiting patiently on your porch still. He turned his back to the house, instead looking around the neighborhood. You came to his side, and that caught his attention. But his gaze didn't go to yours. It went right to the backpack he had on. Autumn grinned hopefully. I told Mom it's okay. He smacked his hands together enthusiastically. All right, time to go. You know, Lily, it's been forever since I've gone to walk to school with a friend. You pricked your ears, going super alert. He called you Lily, and he said you were friends. You thought you were, but it was totally different to have him talk about it just like that. Oh. I knew you liked me. A smirk went across his whole face. Autumn was full of certainty. I do. And I knew you liked me. She easily swiveled all the way around on his heels. He firmly planted his feet into the floorboards of the porch to close out his move. Then he confidently strode forward and leapt over the little steps to get onto the ground. Autumn had places to be, and nothing was going to stand in his way. Happily, you went along with him down the stone path, past the fence and onto the neighborhood sidewalk. It took less than a minute to go around the bendy curve of your neighborhood that led to the least pointy, least colorful home on the street. It is kind of dark. Tamarak's house. Also her Omi and Oppa's house. Chiyo and you wandered right into the uncharted territory of their porch. Press their doorbell? Made a ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling sound until you took your hand off. Chiyo brought his arms to his side, shook his head to readjust the way his hair fell around his shoulders, and positioned himself squarely in the center of the entryway. The old door began to jiggle in its frame, like it was shivering cold from being outside this early too, but someone was fiddling with the doorknob on the other side. And then the door swung wide open, with a clattering yank and a gust of flowery perfumed air coming out from deep inside the house. Still clasping the handle and leaning her head against the wood, Tamarak was there to greet you. She had her bag and scarf on for the day already. Hello! Good morning, Tamarak. Her eyes popped open. She hadn't looked to see who was at the door before saying hello, but she could tell who it was from that answer. Tamarak's tone of voice lightened even more. Chu? And Lily? She'd used your name, not your nickname like Autumn had. Wait! There's a difference? Oh, apparently I need to change my nickname. Maybe she would use it later. Or maybe she forgot. Tamarak kept talking without giving a reason for why she called you that. You're both here? Hi! That's right! We came to ask you to go to school with us. We'll ask it, like actually a question. Chu followed your invitation with a nod. We're all going that way. It'd be cool to walk as a group. She blinked rapidly, many times and all in a row. In the soft pink light, her eyelashes looked almost like shimmering dragonfly wings. Wow, okay. I want to come. She twisted almost the whole way around, turning her back to you. You just barely glimpsed the darkened hall beyond her. Tamarak then leaned over, bending her knees, and powerfully shouted into the depths of the gray house, I'm going to school now! Her loud, high-pitched call echoed through the hallway. Have a good day, young lady! Tamarak hopped forward. It was small. That was all it took to go from being in her house to being in the outside world. She shook the doorknob with her to slam the door shut. I'm ready! The quickness of all that was too much, and Chu needed a second to catch up with it. But when he did, he chuckled. Perfect! And by the way, Tamarak, I told Lily already, but people don't always call me Chu, especially at school. I've got a nickname. It's Autumn. Ooh, okay. I like Chu. You do? Thanks. Autumn lazily settled his hands on his hips, and his eyes moved way off to the side, even though there's nothing special to see that way. Guess we've actually got to go to class. Yeah! She pumped her fists up and down the air in a pattern that matched the pace of her yas. Yeah, or we could not go. We're definitely going. I'm walking both of you there. All clustered together, you, Chu, and Tamarak tramped off the white wooden porch. The full set of cul-de-sac kids hit the road again. Is that our nickname? Are we the cul-de-sac kids? The trip was almost the opposite of last time. The sun was coming up instead of going down, and you were leaving the neighborhood instead of going back to it. But that wasn't what really stood out to you. It was a little bit amazing you already could compare it to a last time. And you could guess this journey with them wasn't going to be the actual last time it ever happened. It'd just be the last time it happened before the new next time. Oh, the colors are so pretty. The first part of the school trip wasn't hard. There was only one way out of your neighborhood unless someone hiked out into wherever the woods went. That would be cool. Maybe you'd be able to do that someday. Your actual path forward had you brush past the forest fork that originally led you to meeting Chu and Tamarak. But you weren't stuck with the same limits as before. This morning you moved right on by without even stopping to check what might be hidden away back there. Now you traveled even further. The woods crowded in closer and closer on the one road that led out. Until suddenly, structures began to appear in between the bushes. The thick overhang of leaves pulled apart to show the sky. The world unfolded ahead of you. Sunshine climbed mountains to just barely tickle your cheeks while the stars still clustered against your back. You were right in the center of a windy mountain path. It flowed over the uneven ground, blanketing every small bump and bend like a black river. Along the street, huge wooden poles rose into the sky in a row that rivaled the trees. Stretching phone lines and reaching branches wove the whole town together. Even though Golden Grove was a lived-in place with man-made things, the vast wilderness was as much a neighbor to the residents as their real people neighbors. This would be such a nice place to live in. I would love it. Tamarak tramped over the grass, swishing her arms in full-length swings in front of her. She didn't get anywhere near the tarmac. Chu's stride was a lot breezier. He took the spot in the line closest to the road and didn't even check for cars. His eyes were aimed at the now viewable sky. You ended up somewhere in between them. If Tamarak was a swoosh and Chu was a breeze, you were a storm. Each step was heavy and crushing. The dirt had to deal with your bad mood if you had to deal with a new school. Oh, okay, I made myself grumpy then. All that air went out the window and Chu started moving his hands around even more than Tamarack. He frantically stuck his fingers in and out of each one of his pockets, while poking his tongue out of the corner of his mouth. You and Tamarack just watched as he tugged at his jacket and pants while walking. The two of you probably shared the same exact thought. He was looking for his notebook, or paper, or something. Aha! And it was paper. But it wasn't his special tan pages. The thing Chu grabbed was a thick, folded packet of white printer paper that was covered all over in tiny ink words. You could instantly tell what it was. That many papers stapled together. Oh, summer work. But that many little words in them only ever came from one place. School. Chu held it close to his face. He had his nose completely in what was basically a book. But for some reason, he started to talk to you and Tamarack. Which room did you get? Oh no, it's a class schedule. For a second, Chu peeked over the pages to look at both of you. Who's your teacher? Tamarack thought hard, but she didn't find an answer in her head. She squished her paper into the flap of her bag without unbuckling it. She had to find her own papers. Let's see. Mom told me. I'm in room 24 with Miss Murray. Chu used his thumbs to bend the papers down. They stopped hiding his face and you could see he was smiling. Wait, that's my room too! Tamarack waved her packet in the air in a crinkly flurry. Me three! Yay, we're all in the same class together! Cul-de-sac kids! Unite. We're gonna be stuck together forever. No, we're joking. Your mom had given you the papers. Chu probably got his from his mom and dad, and Tamarack from her Omi and Oppa. Despite being kind of different, the papers were all the same. A smirk settled in its regular spot on Chu's face. All according to plan if he somehow could have planned it. We're roommates. He didn't need the packet for anything else, so he stuffed it into his pant pocket with a shrug of one shoulder. There's only 3 5th grade classes we could have been in. When Chu made sure it was deep enough to not just fall out, he brought both his arms into an even bigger shrug and chuckled too. But Miss Murray? I almost made it without her being my teacher. It was close. Is she not a good teacher? Tamarack peered into his face with wide eyes, leaning over so much that she almost walked into her. She didn't have to say what her question was with words. Chu got it. Don't worry, she's nice. She's the best teacher for you two. Us two, what about you? That's concerning. She made a very serious and reassuring okay sign with his fingers, but in an instant, it snapped into a pointing gesture. And you're probably gonna be shocked, but Miss Murray isn't just a teacher. She's a mom! She has kids that are just her kids, not students. Is that a shock? Wow! I think you're weird. Oh my god. It would not be fun to have a parent who's a teacher. God, no. You say weird, I say one of a kind. But now I know where we're really going. You can bring us right to the door. The extra burst of confidence got Chu to take a few long strides ahead of you and Tamarack, keeping his chin high. Tamarack bounced across the grass, kicking her knees high to catch up. She didn't let him keep the lead he took. No, we're gonna happily go up. You ran forward to get back in the middle of the row. You were greeted with grins from both of them. Your steps came back into a steady rhythm between the three of you. Wait, yeah, why don't you want her? Because she knows me? I like how all the teachers have met me because I go to that school. Is that your mom? His dark brown eyes stretched open as wide as they could. His whispered words are pulled out just as long. It's a deep, secret confession. She really knows me. Outside of school and everything, you're her kid. The seriousness of it only lasted a second. Autumn laughed at it instead. It's gonna be tough to get away with stuff now. Instead, Tamarack put on her shocked expression. A shocked expression she had just put away. Wow, I've never seen a teacher outside of school. When do they leave? Pretty late, usually. But they do go home and do errands and stuff. I've experienced it. That is so your mom. Oh. One word with 2 letters said in a weak voice. You can't manage more than that. Tamarack eyeballed you from over her shoulder. She clearly saw something upsetting there, because she firmly stuck her hands to her hips and puffed at you. Lily, what's wrong? You're being so sad. You tripped over your words before when trying to say them. Tamarack's words almost made you fall over for real. She had tugged the top edge of his hood further over his forehead, but it didn't hide his awkwardly pinched expression. Her approach had caught him by surprise just as much as you. The call-out was made, so he let the fluff go and join in with what was being said. She does kind of have a point. Are you doing okay? Oh. It's nothing. Tamarack and Shu frowned, not knowing what was happening. Oh no, I fucked it up! Oh, I'm sorry, babies! I don't know what it's like to move someplace else or go to a school that's different than before. Not even a tiny bit. But thinking about me doing it, I feel like it'd be tough. Since you're really doing it, I guess that means you're pretty tough too. You too, Tamarack. She flipped her frown upside down. We're on an adventure. Things are getting good. You'll see. Her excitement for... You weren't even sure what about this made her so excited. Maybe Tamarack thought change was fun and she didn't care what changed. But no matter what that spark was, it couldn't be put out by anything. Shu bounced off her positivity. Yeah, the great stuff is right around the corner. Though maybe not having to go to class. After that part. You got Tamarack to laugh at that. Her hands squished into her cheeks in delight. Aww. You know what? I'm happy for my friends. At least you watch the 2 giggle and grin together. At least lunch should be good. I like the way you think. Somehow your own face lifted up in a smile. You still had no idea what you were going to do at a new school in a whole new life. But not every little piece of your world was terrible. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if I switched the game or not. You were able to push yourself to keep going. The longer the walk went on, the more Tamarack's gaze was pulled to the forest edge along the road instead of what was right in front of her. Her steps drifted unevenly. Oh my god. Oh my god, I need this soundtrack. This is nice. I couldn't blame her. You had done the same during the trip a few times. But you weren't the only one who noticed her focus. Hey, so it's kind of funny how both of you like the woods that much. It's the only nice place I've been here so far. She said it in the plainest way possible, and the words still made Shu gasp hard enough to cough. Have you been at places out in the forest? Yeah, lots. They're not good. I can't believe it. Hey, both places can be good, they're just different. Yeah. Shu shook off the shock Tamarack's statement hit him with. He turned his cheek to the front as he rolled his shoulders. He was winding up for a comeback. I guess I can give you one thing. There is a pretty special kind of fun that, in all my years of living here, you'd only ever have out in these woods. Nowhere else. Really? What is it? He'd cast a reel and Tamarack was hooked on it. She instantly became invested in whatever mystery Shu had up his line. I'm not gonna tell you. Ooh! Snap! In the pullback. What? Tamarack shrieked in a tone so high it scared away a bird who was minding its own business in the tree above. It was hook, line, and sinker. The beat of its wings fluttering through the air matched Shu's giggling. He brought a hand to his chin and leveled a mischievous glance at Tamarack. One day you'll understand. Probably. And that was really it. He closed up his lips, folded his arms, and settled into not explaining for the rest of the walk. Tamarack couldn't accept that, or couldn't get the hint. She pestered him with the passion in her words getting stronger every time she repeated them. Tell me the thing! Tell me the special thing! Chew! Tell me the special thing! Who wants to bet she never finds out? No, Lily! The conversation of Tamarack's attempts to squeeze Chew for info, your comments on it, and the snickers that escaped from Chew continued while you headed towards your goal. Down the road some more, over a crosswalk, past the main street, taking a turn at the corner. That was when the widest building you'd seen so far came into view. There have been taller ones, because that one only had 2 floors, but there was a lot of those floors. North Acres Elementary School. The name made sense. You wondered exactly how many acres it was. Dozens of other kids are pouring out from a few different paths and mixing together under the front arches above the giant door. You tried to stand up straight, wanting to do things right. Then you went through the door, sticking even closer by your group than on the walk there. Fall into first grade? Oh my god. Corniness already. Happy fall, y'all! This is a cute school. Inside was a long hall with different doors and a staircase on the side. It was shiny and dull, like it had been cleaned so hard for so long it made everything even more worn down than normal. Poster boards with a bunch of paper sheets tacked on lined the walls. Nobody was even looking at them. The messages they had might never have been read. The floors had a checkered tile pattern. Some of the kids around made sure only to walk on one of the colors and avoid the other. Oh my god, I would do that. And it was loud. There was too much sound for the crowds for the hall to hold. It echoed around, which made it even louder. This place is your school now. Chew tapped your shoulder and pointed with his other hand. You figured that was his way to say you had to keep going without having to yell so you could hear. The 3 of you pressed past the other students, making sure you didn't get separated. Step by step, you climbed upwards and forwards. Autumn waved a hand towards the right door when you reached the top. You'd arrived for the first day of class, right on time. Aww. The little bit of cold you brought inside the school on the tip of your nose and over your cheeks had finally drifted off your face. It was nice and warm when you went into the room. Your brand new class, 5th grade room number 24, smelled like people hard at work. Cut construction paper, crayons, glue. Anything could be made with that. There were tons of leaves stuck to the different colored walls, climbing around the windows, hanging from shelves, and sticking out from behind boards. Where some of those things could be made. Kids sat together in close groups. The desks were pushed up to make bigger tables. There was just one chair by itself, right at the front. Or the back if the way in was the front door. Tamarack took in a loud breath of waxy air. Wow, I thought it was gonna be ugly! Ooh, wait, there's 2 pages? You said so confused. Wow, this is way better than my old school. Yes, this. This is the best school I've ever been to. Autumn shrugged his backpack off to the floor. When it hit the ground, a puff of air came out of the not totally zipped top. Nothing in the place caught his eye, in a good way or a bad one. It was like nothing around him existed. Shu just watched you and Tamarack look. He chuckled at the faces you both made. The classes look the same for every room, in every grade, every year. Oh, it wasn't that he couldn't see what you did. It was just that he'd already seen it 110 times or more. And Chew knew school as well as he knew everything else in Golden Grove. He kicked his backpack behind him to be up against the wall, never glancing down. There was already a bunch of other bags there, sat one by one along the far side of the room. They were almost completely hidden under a row of hooks that had coats and jackets and stuff cluttered over them in stacked piles. There weren't enough holders for all the layers people brought. You're pretty lucky. This is your first time here. You're already gonna have to do it once. But you're only gonna have to do it once. We're gonna graduate and go to a different school next year. We'll all be new kids then. Aww. He talked pulled his arms out of the jacket you'd always seen him wear so far. He tossed it on the top of a rounded lump of other coats with a hook somewhere below it all. Tamarack waited, watched, and then she tugged at the end of her scarf to undo the knot it was wrapped in. She talked too. I told you this place was weird and never changed. That made Chew pfiffed at her. The sound was almost exactly like the noise his backpack made a minute ago. School is different than the entire town, Tamarack. Tamarack didn't say more words against that. She just got on her tiptoes to sling her untied scarf over Chew's jacket, building the mountain of stuff on the one little hook even higher. You know, I'm scared to put my jacket on it now because it's all gonna just come tumbling down. Chew shoved his bandana deep into one of his pockets and lifted up his other shoulder. You're right that class is always the same. Seeing Autumn without his fluffy jacket felt like seeing a lion without its mane. This is true. This is weird. He folded his arms high across his chest and gazed upon what you were starting to get was his kingdom. He had all the pride of a lion even without the jacket. Though Chew acted like that was it for getting ready. He hadn't even taken his gloves off. Was he gonna wear those to class? Tamarack held tight to the strap of her bag. It for sure wasn't going with the rest of the packs. That meant she was definitely already done with the putting your stuff away part of getting to school. Tamarack's overalls were the most over-clothing she had once the scarf was off. No coat or a cool poncho or anything. The overalls were kind of short too. They didn't cover her whole legs. Her ankles had long socks and yellow rubber rain boots to keep them warm, but you had to wonder if she didn't feel cold the same way most people did. Take off your jacket. Not having your jacket on made you feel different. You weren't coming or going anywhere anymore. You were really staying there in that place for a lot of hours. But all you could do was find a hook pile to leave it behind on until later. Good morning and welcome, students. You glance over your shoulder. Oh, she's so pretty! Hi, ma'am! In the open doorway was a new person for you to have to know. Her braids did match a few of the kids there, but she wasn't going to be sitting at the desks with them. She was twice as tall as everybody else in the room. This had to be the teacher, Miss Murray. Her soft brown eyes looked down over you and your neighbors while she tapped a finger against her freckle-speckled face. The pattern on her skin was almost like stars. The sky was light at night and the stars were the darker part. Her rosy-peaked lips parted into a smile. She inclined her chin towards Chew. Nice to see you here, Mr. Chew Lin. This will be a good year. Yeah. Chew stretched the word out as far as it could go. At the same time, he opened his arms wide. He turned his head away, too. If not mother, maybe aunt? There's some sort of relation here. That's the kind of tone your mom would have when she had her old work friends over and they asked if they could set her up on a blind date. What? Quicky, cheerful, and not real. He was trying to be nice, wasn't trying that hard. Though when his eyes were rolling away, his gaze passed over you and got stuck there. Mischievous grin tugged the corners of his mouth as the sound of his voice went from far-off key to chiming. Maybe. Miss Murray's pencil-pointy eyebrows lifted. She blinked one time and then her smile grew. It was shared with you and Tamarack next. Hello, I'm your teacher, Miss Murray. Am I right to say that you're Tamarack Bauman and Lily Demonic Angel? I'm Madam Lily Demonic Angel. Excuse you. Say my name with all of the dignity and respect it deserves. Tamarack bopped her hands in the air and twisted in place to swing her bags that hung behind her. And I'm Tamarack! That is so great. Miss Murray spoke sweetly in a way that wasn't just nice. It wasn't surprised or relieved to find out the answer. In a way that was just nice. It wasn't surprised. She probably didn't need to ask who you were. Teachers knew a lot. If you'd be so kind, would you mind coming over to my desk over there in a far corner? I'd like to talk to you two before class begins. Oh shit, we just started and I'm already in trouble. Okay. Tamarack lowered her hands back down to her sides. She still bumped her bag around by pushing it up and down with her butt. It clattered loudly and Miss Murray pretended not to hear. Did we do something wrong already? No, you're perfectly fine. No, you're both perfect. But I might do some... You're both perfect, but I might do something wrong? We wouldn't want that. What? Alright. Oh wait, my jacket's gone. Thank you, both of you. She gestured lightly with her hand for you to come and left the doorway. Chu turned his head to follow the teacher. More and more of his dark hair eclipsed your view of the rest of him as she walked away. When you lost sight of his face, there had been a frown on it. Oh no. After she was really gone, he swung back towards you and Tamarack. Autumn was smirking then. Good luck out there. He tipped over on one foot and bent his body way down. His other leg kicked into the air. He could balance better than a flamingo. Autumn slipped a hand under his jacket on the hook, and also under Tamarack's scarf, which was still on top of it, and dug around in the fabric. He didn't come out empty-handed. He'd gotten a hold of his favorite notebook and a pencil. Chu slowly lifted his chest up and brought his one hovering foot down to earth again. The whole thing was graceful, but he followed it by wildly waving his notebook goodbye at you. And a paper fell out when he did it! Chew! Ah! Tamarack squealed, trying to talk but too fast so none of it was real words. She raised her arms to Chu graspingly, like she could pick him up and plant him back where he dropped his thing. Oh, honey! That didn't work either. He stepped away on light feet, carefree, and joined up with one of the groups at the desks. They all raised their head and waved when he arrived. He was gone. The teacher was waiting. Tamarack squinted her dark red eyes tightly. She directed her gaze towards you because it wasn't like anyone else in the room could understand her. You gave her a look back. Scatterbrain. This is gonna be a long, however long it is. We'll just put it in our pocket. Made a beeline to the tan page on the dark blue carpet and snatched it off the ground before somebody could step on it. Or it could blow away and get lost in the middle of a forest. You simply tucked it away. That was taken care of. Tamarack pretended to be a jack-in-the-box like she did yesterday. This time it was by bending on her knees before bouncing straight. Her fluffy locks of hair shook around her round cheeks. Come on, Lily! She skipped off to the teacher's desk, all smiles. You trailed after her lead. You didn't want to be left behind. Off in the corner on the other side of the room was the teacher's old, dark brown desk. At least the very top of the wood was dark. The inner part was a lot lighter. You'd see that from all the tiny cuts and scratches over the surface. It was as far away from the desk as it could be. You guessed that was so she could have these kinds of talks without everybody else hearing the whole thing. Miss Murray didn't sit in the cool rolling chair that went behind the desk. She stayed in front and only leaned her back against the top edge. She got to talk to you and Tamarack gently because she didn't have to push her voice across a piece of furniture that separates students and teachers. I appreciate you coming to this meeting. I wanted to let you know a little about today, what you can expect from your first day. Why? Well, this class has a unique arrangement of the students, but you're the only two who have never attended this school before. Everyone else is simply returning after a summer break. I'd like to introduce you during roll call later. I want all the other kids to know who you are. Oh, please no. Tamarack flicked at the buckles on her bag. They made a clinking sound when she hit them up and a thump when they landed back down. Her gaze moved around too. The meeting wasn't exciting anymore. It was gonna be so awkward. People would stare and make faces, and you'd have to sit there or stand there like a big weirdo while the teacher talked all about you. The face he made wasn't that any the face he made wasn't what any teacher would have wanted when they told their students their plans for class. Miss Murray could only offer promises over her plans and no proof. I'll make sure it'll be alright. The kids will get it. The teacher slid her hands across the desk behind her and spread her fingers out wide. In a couple minutes, I'll be telling the class to take their assigned seats. You'll have those spots for the rest of the year. I made a seating plan already, but there is a bit of wiggle room to help you get comfortable if you'd like. Tamarack's hands flew from her bags to her cheek. That sounded like a smack. Does that mean Lily and I get to sit together because we're neighbors and friends? Her outburst made you want to cover your face with your hands too, for a really different reason. You were so nervous. Your heart wasn't going to stop running around your chest until the teacher said if you get to be with Tamarack the whole year or not. A twinkle was in Miss Murray's eyes when she finally said what you were hoping for. You thought she might have paused on purpose to make it more dramatic. Yes, I can put you next to each other. Woohoo! It made Tamarack explode in celebration. She hopped up on one foot, pulling the other up near her chest, and her arms went in the air. Oh my god, how does that work? Lily, we're gonna sit together! Yeah. We've got something then. Anything else? She's just a giant ball of sunshine, isn't she? Can Tamarack and I sit with Chew? They were both your house neighbors. Tamarack and Chew had to be your seat neighbors too. Miss Murray was a really proper lady from what you'd seen. She didn't have one wrinkle on her fancy suit, but creases suddenly appeared around her eyes and mouth after she heard that. The line spelled not again. Oh no. No, I'm sorry. I'm glad you're getting along with Chew, but there were students who wanted to sit next to him last year and didn't get to. It's their turn now. Is he that popular? Your eyebrows went up so high you almost could have lost them. That many people wanted to sit by Chew? Oh, Chew's gonna be like the cool guy, isn't he? It was kind of rude to the teacher, but you had to turn your head right around to look at the guy you'd been talking about. He was leaning over the bunch of desks from before and still talking to those other kids you didn't know. There's a big smile on every face. You tilted your head back where it came, not all the way. You only moved it enough to be able to look to the side instead, at Tamarack. Her gaze was directed straight at you too. She gripped the strap of her bag and that was weighing against her chest. Since the day you moved in, it had been just the three of you in your cul-de-sac. It's been one day. Honey, it's okay. Even if the day you moved in was yesterday. It was the same group. You, Tamarack, and Chew. Neighbors. But you weren't in your neighborhood anymore. On the outside of that street, Tamarack was exactly like you were and Chew wasn't. You and her were strangers in Golden Grove now. You didn't know people and they didn't know you. Chew had been there forever. And it wasn't only that. You already learned something on your first day of school. Chew was popular. Oh my god, big screen. Okay. You're allowed to have a friend like Tamarack even more. Someday you're gonna be popular too. God, nope. Why did he care about getting to know you? Yep, Tamarack should be that popular once people got to know her. I mean, realistically, that would make me sad. Popular kids never stick around. No, you didn't know exactly how lonely it was to be at a new school until right then. Huddled away by the teacher's desk, the crowd of friend groups you weren't a part of on the other side. That was always my biggest part with school. Not looking at her didn't stop your teacher from trying to talk to you. Lily? I'm sure once you're in your seat, you'll get used to it. Soon, you won't want to be anywhere else. And if not, you can come talk to me about it. Yes, Miss Murray. She didn't talk the desk up anymore. It was gonna have to win you over on its own. Or not. So, Miss Murray had to wait for you and Tamarack to stop your shared stares in surprise, and then she pointed across the floor to a couple of desks near the back that were side by side. Those are yours. Tamarack's is the closest to the wall, and Lily, yours is the one next to that. Window seat! Window seat! Gonna sit at the window seat! Tamarack happily sung herself a simple song about her brand new desk. Besides the roll call, there won't be any surprises. It'll be a regular, easy first day of class. Thank you for having a chat with me. You can take your seats. Tamarack's cheeks inflated and she pushed a smile between the two balls of air. Okay, let's go, Lily! Alright. I just have a squiggly line. The teacher stayed resting up against her desk while you and Tamarack went towards your own seats. Tamarack sent quick, excited glances from the desks, then back to you over and over as you walked towards them. Oh my god. Whew. She chattered about how it was going to be so fun being right next to each other and all the things you could do during the year. It was hard not to believe her. She beamed so bright it was like her sparkly, golden hair made the sunshine that filled the room. You counted every one of your lucky stars you didn't get put somewhere else. A clap and a call came from where you'd just left. Attention, students! Class is starting! Take your seats. Just like she said she would, Miss Murray was beginning the lesson. You were right in front of your assigned group of desks when she said it. The red plastic chair Miss Murray had pointed out before was probably really old, but it was brand new to you. She pulled it out from the tables and gave sitting in it a try. Hard, cold, and slippery. Oh, you pulled it out from the tables and gave sitting in it a try. Hard, cold, and slippery smooth, and the back part wasn't straight. It bent away from the bottom seat part. It felt like leaning against the top of a shiny slide on the playground. If you weren't paying attention, you might fall right off. Maybe that was the point. It was a way to keep kids focused. Tamarack was right there next to your left side, by the wall and the window, just like she wanted. Past her, you could see the rustling treetops outside. With their golden fall leaves all bunched together, they kind of looked like Tamarack's puffy hair, but not as sparkly. She plopped her huge, jingling pack on the desk. The actual bag barely fit, and she had to bundle up the strap on top so that it wasn't sneaking over into someone else's workspace. The tips of her rain boots were pressed against the dark blue carpet, and she tapped her heels together, made the shoes squeak. She was excited for her own little place in the room. Lily, we're gonna be right here for the rest of the year! Yeah, we're gonna sit here over 100 times! Tamarack patted her hands against the thick fabric of the bag and giggled in time with the hits. She stayed pretty busy making a beat. You glanced at the room ahead of you, where the important boards and teachers were. She was there too, the very first row of seats. It wasn't the same spot he'd been in before when you saw him talking to some people, but those other classmates he was sitting with were just as happy to have him there. He was hanging one of his arms across the top edge of his chair and was settled in so snugly he looked like a heavy blanket that had been thrown over it. He moved his head to the side to rest his cheek against his stretched out shoulder. Shoes somehow made himself sit even more relaxedly. When that happened, he noticed you behind him. Autumn firmly pressed down his eyebrows and pushed his mouth open a little. He wasn't there when you learned you and Tamarack would be together, and he wouldn't be there with you now he found out. He only looked that way long enough for him to notice that you had noticed his expression. Then your friend, house neighbor, and not seat neighbor, lifted the corner of his mouth and sneakily waved the hand draped on the seat at you. Chu's deep brown-eyed gaze darted over to Miss Murray, directing your attention to her. His eyes kept moving right into a dramatic roll that went all the way around. It wasn't hard to imagine him saying, "Teachers, huh?" or something like that. For a minute, you picture what it would have been like if he had been right next to you. But he couldn't face you forever. It was class time, and you were left staring at the tiny ponytail on the back of his head again. It was the worst. Miss Murray patiently waited for people to get settled. Every seat had a kid in it, and final words were said before the room faded into a short silence. That's when things changed from you being just someone in some room to a student who had to listen to a lesson. You know what? I think that might actually be a good place to stop it. I wanted to at least put an hour into this, and we are right about at that mark. We're a little bit under, but I can feel my voice starting to go. And honestly, I could use a break. I gotta get some sheets cleaned and laundry folded and taken care of and all that, so... yeah, I think that's overall a good place to leave it. So, obviously, Our Life Now and Forever is going to get at least one more part, maybe even two. I'm not sure how long this demo is, but we shall see. I will stream it at least one more time. maybe more after that. But it's a good 3 hours, 45 minutes-ish, of a stream. Definitely longer than I usually do, but it is 8:41. I got stuffs I need to do. But, yeah. Still cutesy. I love it. It's adorable. And I actually am commissioning somebody to make a thumbnail for this game. At least the childhood portion. So that'll be great. The person I know who's doing it is absolutely obsessed with the game. So I'm hoping they'll have fun making it as well. And yeah, sorry, it doesn't feel like I got through a whole lot, but hey, we walked to school and we started 5th grade, so there's that. But yeah. Oh my god, my poor voice. In any case, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it too much. I gave some of my thoughts on the game when I first streamed it. It's still just as cute and adorable, and I love these characters, and it would have been great to have friends like them growing up, when I was a kid. Just kind of the loner type, you know? God, if I could live in that world, I absolutely would. In any case, though, let's see what's going on here. Anybody I can go ahead and drop a raid out to? Let's see. Actually, I have quite a few people online right now. Might as well we'll raid out to James. He's playing DVD right now. So yeah, there we go. But that is, of course, going to be the end of the stream, so I would like to thank you all so much for joining me. I do love and appreciate you all so very, very much. My schedule as it stands so far for the rest of the week is, we have Fi the Broken Strings tomorrow. It's a demo, thankfully. God, I'm not starting a full-length game anytime soon. Until I finish the ones I have. Wednesday, we have Magical Warrior Diamond Heart Demo Part 2. I'm sure that one's gonna be like a multi-part series. Thursday is Silent Hill F. Saturday, we have the last episode of God of War. And Sunday, we have the new update of Withering Waves. And then, of course, I'll continue to make it through the demos as the weeks go by. It's just kind of gonna end up being like a 1 or 2 a week type deal. But yeah, I, of course, as always, hope you'll have a wonderfully demonic rest of your day.